Hi and welcome everyone to another video on my channel. My name is Denis and today, as you may know, the fixtures for the next season of FPL are just announced, so we're going to take a look at it. As usual, if you enjoy this type of content, please consider leaving a like, hit that subscribe button, but now let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with the opening fixtures. As you can see from the screen, this is going to be Game Week 1 of Fantasy Premier League 2025-26. Now, obviously, I know that it is a little bit early to be planning your FPL teams for the next season, but at the moment, as you may know, FPL is back. The fixtures are just announced and this is the information we have at the moment, and let's just talk a little bit about it. Obviously, with Game Week 1, I'm going to show you in a minute all the fixtures for the next 5 game weeks, also for all the teams, but at the moment let's talk a little bit about what we see here. As you can see from the screen, the first game week of the season is going to be on Friday, this time Liverpool Bournemouth. So not an easy fixture for Liverpool, not a really bad one. As you may know, Bournemouth are going to lose a lot of players this summer. Obviously, all the things I'm going to talk about in this video are going to be dependent on the price changes on the transfer market. So we still need to wait and see what's going to happen. But the fixture for Liverpool is decent. Now, as we will see in the next slides, the fixtures for Liverpool for the next 3 game weeks of the season at least are going to be a little bit tricky. So here you can make a case if you want to go for Mohamed Salah or not. Personally, I think that it is a little bit too early for us to talk about that now, but at the moment, for me personally, I think that it is a risk to go without Mohamed Salah, and I can see myself doing that, but again, you need to ask me again in 1 or 2 months. Other than the first game week of the season, as you can see, some fixtures stand out. Now, for me, that's Spurs against Burnley, Manchester City against Wolverhampton, Manchester United against Arsenal. It's a derby, obviously, and also West Ham are going to play against Sunderland. So these teams are going to play against the 3 newly promoted sides, which are Burnley, Sunderland and Leeds. Now, if this was 2 or 3 years ago, a lot of us would be talking about going with someone like Heung-min Son instead of going with Mohamed Salah, because as you can see, Spurs are playing at home against Burnley. I can see a lot of goals in that game. Now, obviously, it's not the situation is a little bit different at the moment because Son wasn't at his best last season, let's be honest. And the thing is, we need to see how Spurs are going to play under Thomas Frank. Maybe another formation, maybe they are going to add some players also, maybe they are going to sell some players. But at the moment, obviously, I don't rule myself owning any Spurs players, although we know that Spurs and Manchester United were really bad last season, but the fixture is just great at home against Burnley. Some tough fixtures here for Manchester United. Arsenal, Aston Villa are going to play against Newcastle at home, so they're going to play against each other. Not great for us in FPL. Other fixtures: Brighton, Fulham, Nottingham Forest, Brentford. But also we need to see how these teams are going to play in the next game weeks also, because you can't just make a draft for just game week 1. Now, for those people maybe interested in using the bench boost in game week 1, I think that some people are going to be interested, because we saw last season a lot of us just held the bench boost chip and it really didn't help us a lot. So game week 1 could be a good strategy, not for me, but it's not for everyone obviously, but that's going to be really dependent on the FPL prices, because as you can see here, West Ham, Sunderland, as I said before, Bone, I think that is going to be a pretty popular option. Someone like Aaron Wan-Bissaka, maybe a goalkeeper from West Ham. So yeah, basically we need to see how these prices are going to be for all these players. But the other fixtures, as you can see, Manchester City, Chelsea, you will see in a minute, they are going to have really good fixture runs for the opening games. Manchester City against Wolverhampton, Haaland could be obviously a good captaincy option. Chelsea against Crystal Palace at home, and Leeds against Everton. Now let's see how these teams which teams have the better fixtures for the first 5 game weeks, which teams have the worst. But let's move to the next part. Okay, so as you can see from the screen, we're going to start with the top 6 from last season, which teams are Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, Chelsea, Newcastle and Aston Villa, in that order. Now from here I covered game week 1 to 5. Don't worry, we're going to take a look also for the first 10 game weeks of the season by difficulty for all the teams. So but yeah, let's just start with those teams. Maybe you're asking now, some of these teams are not having great fixture runs from the start of the season, and maybe you're asking why I put them there. Now obviously these were the best 6 teams from last season in the Premier League, so I think that a lot of our plans, our FPL plans, are going to be related to those teams, although some of them may have not great fixture runs from the beginning. Yeah, let's just start with the first one. Let's start with Liverpool. As I said before, as you can see here, they're going to play in game week 1 against Bournemouth at home. So as I said before, it's not a great first start of the game week. It's not really bad, because we know that Bournemouth were a really good team last season. Now that's not necessarily going to stay the same. As I said before, they are going to lose a lot of players. Huijsen transferred out to Real Madrid, probably Kerkez is going to go for Liverpool, Semenyo is going to attract some interest from other teams, so they are going to lose some players maybe. Now that doesn't mean that they are going to be suddenly fighting for the relegation or something like that, so no, I'm not saying that, but it's a decent fixture from Liverpool, a tricky one, but it's not something like Arsenal, so you get my point. That's why also the color is gray, because I think that Bournemouth are a decent team. But the first 3 game weeks for Liverpool are tricky. Bournemouth, Newcastle away and Arsenal at home. The problem is after that they're going to play against Burnley in game week 4, Everton in game week 5. The fixtures are going to get a little bit nicer in the future for Liverpool. So basically what I think here, obviously if you want to start without any Liverpool players, I think that's a little bit crazy to say it right now at least, but yeah, if your strategy is to wildcard game week 4, that could be viable. Obviously if that's how you want to play, maybe you want to bench boost in game week 1 and just wildcard in game week 4. Now again, here you can make a case to go or with or without Mohamed Salah for the first 3 game weeks of the season. I think it is a little bit crazy at the moment if you ask me, because obviously Mohamed Salah just mashed it last season, and I think that the fixtures, Mohamed Salah can easily score in all of them. To be honest with you, he's on penalties. I don't think that his output is going to go down this season. I think that he's going to be fine. And now obviously it really depends also on his price. Probably he's going to get a big price rise. I don't think that he's going to be 15 millions, but I can see 14, 14.5. And then we need to see how can we accommodate him in our teams. So yeah, as I said, the tricky first 3 game weeks for Liverpool, but in game week 1 they're going to play at home, so I don't see any problem in captaining Mohamed Salah if you want to go safe. By the way, he hasn't blanked in the last 7 or 8 years, I think, in game week 1, so yeah, maybe he's due, but also maybe he's not. If we move to the other team, Arsenal are going to have a start of the season something like Liverpool, maybe a little bit harder. Now here in game week 1 I put it Manchester United as a grey fixture. Now obviously they were really bad last season, so it should have been a green, but from my point of view, from my perspective, I just think that Manchester United are going to improve a little bit this season, so that's why I put the fixture difficulty on a grey, and also it's away for Arsenal, so you can consider it how you want. Maybe you just think that Man United are going to be really bad, Arsenal are just going to win 3-4-0, something like that. But again, after that, Leeds is really nice in game week 2, but then in game week 3 they're going to play against Liverpool away, and in game week 5 against Manchester City at home, and also between Nottingham Forest at home, which is not an easy fixture attacking wise for attackers. So the first game weeks of the season for Arsenal are going to be a little bit tough. I'm not sure how many players from Arsenal I'm going to have at the moment. From a defensive perspective, that's just not great. Okay, you could argue that Man United, Leeds, Nottingham Forest, in those games Arsenal could keep a clean sheet. We know that they were the best defense last season in the Premier League, and probably they are going to be okay also this season. So yeah, it is too early a little bit to speak about these things. We need to see the prices. If we move to Manchester City and Chelsea, here I wanted to um, say that they are going to have really good fixture runs from my point of view, at least from game week 1 to game week 5, and even after that. Chelsea, especially with Crystal Palace, West Ham, Fulham, Brentford, and Manchester United in game week 5. Now I know that Palmer was really frustrating for a lot of people last season, including myself. He was really bad, but I can see him easily being back on the menu. Now, again, I'm not saying that you should start with Palmer, but I think that he's going to be at least a consideration for me, at least. They are going to start at home against Palace. The fixtures are decent for the first game week of the season. We need to see what Chelsea obviously are going to do in the transfer market. They bought in Delap. We need to see if Jackson is going to stay, if other players are going to come to Chelsea, and how really they are going to play, because they have a lot of good players. But yeah, I'm going to keep an eye open on Chelsea in the preseason, and I think that I'm going to have at least one or two players in my FPL Game Week 1 draft. With Manchester City, again, these two teams are going to play at the Club World Cup, so we can see how they're going to play. After that, the preseason. City are going to start against Wolverhampton away, a team who just lost Ainuri and Cunha. Maybe the best two players from Wolverhampton are gone. So I'm not saying again that Wolverhampton are going to be a bad side, but surely without those two players, two key players for Wolverhampton last season, they are not going to be that good, I think. Then game week 2, Tottenham at home, Brighton away, Man United at home, and Arsenal away in game week 5. That's a tough fixture attacking wise. But the fixtures for Manchester City are decent. Now, although I'm expecting also Spurs to improve a little bit, just like Manchester United from last season, I mean, surely you can't go that bad again. Still, I put Spurs as a green fixture because City are going to play them at home. And from an attacking perspective, I think that's just a great fixture. Brighton away, it's not easy, and Manchester United at home. Again, it's the Manchester derby. You don't know exactly what's going to happen at the moment, but the fixtures are great. For Newcastle, the fixtures are again tricky, just like Liverpool and Arsenal. From my point of view, they're going to play against Aston Villa away, Liverpool, and Bournemouth away in Game Week 5. These three fixtures are a little bit tricky. Besides that, they are going to play against Leeds and Wolverhampton. So that's fantastic in Game Week 3 and 4, but before and after, as you can see, they are going to have some tricky fixtures. Now, again, from an attacking perspective, if Isak is still going to remain at Newcastle, I don't see a problem with playing Isak against Aston Villa away, but obviously you would prefer to play him against some team like Burnley, Sunderland, if you get my point. Now with Aston Villa, again, maybe the best fixture run for the 5-6 gamings. We're going to talk a little bit about them in the next section also, but they're going to play against Newcastle at home. So the toughest fixture for Aston Villa in the first 5 game weeks is going to be at least at home against Newcastle, and after that they're going to play against Brentford away, which is not an easy fixture because Brentford are playing usually good at home, Crystal Palace, Everton, and Sunderland in game week 5. So I can see again some of us having some players from Aston Villa, maybe a Watkins, maybe a Rodgers, but let's move to see which teams have the best fixtures. Moving forward, we're going to see here the best fixtures for these teams to game week, for game week 1 to game week 5. Now, obviously, this is just my opinion, so these are not all the teams who are going to have good fixtures. There are other teams also, but we're going to talk about them in a minute. So with for Manchester City, Chelsea, and Aston Villa, we talked about them. They have great fixtures. They were inside top 6 last season, so they are 3 of the best teams in the Premier League at the moment. They're going to have great fixtures. We're going to take a look into their players when the FPL prices are going to be announced. But at the moment, let's see other teams also. As you can see here, starting with Brentford, As you may know, Kelleher is going to be a really popular option if he's going to come in at the price of 4.5, something like that, millions. From a defensive perspective, I can see Brentford keeping a clean sheet against Nottingham Forest, Sunderland, and Fulham. Now, obviously, that's not a guaranteed. The fixtures are decent in the opening five. They are not great, obviously, because they are going to play against Aston Villa and Chelsea, but at least those fixtures are going to be at home. Now we need to see what's going to happen also in the transfer market for Brentford, because as you may know, Mbeumo probably at the moment he's linked to Manchester United. The transfer is not done yet, but it's looking like Mbeumo is going to leave Brentford. And then we need to see if Wisa is going to stay, because if that's going to happen, Wisa could be a decent option depending on his price. Probably again he's going to get a price rise from last season, but the fixtures are not bad from Brentford. For a backup goalkeeper, let's say if you want to start with two 4.5 million goalkeepers, you could just start with Kelleher as one of them and just rotate them for Game Week 2 and Game Week 4. But yeah, it is too early to pronounce at the moment. If we go to Nottingham Forest, again, here I'm expecting a drop from Nottingham Forest from last season, to be honest with you. They dropped also in the last part of the season in 2024-25, but I just don't think that they are going to be that good like they were last season. Now, again, they are a good defense. The chances are that's going to also stay this season. The fixtures are okay for them. As you can see, they are going to start against Brentford at home, Crystal Palace, West Ham, and Burnley in Game Week 5. They are going to play against Arsenal in Game Week 4, which is not great. But overall, the first 5 game weeks for Nottingham Forest are decent, and I totally understand. If you want to go for someone like Wood, although probably he's going to get also a price rise, I think that's not a bad idea. Again, if you want to go for Nottingham Forest defender, that could work also. Now, if we move to the last team here, it's West Ham, and what I really like about West Ham is that they are going to play against Sunderland in Game Week 1. Now that's a way, but also the good part is that they also have some nice fixtures after that. Now, obviously not immediately after that, because they are going to play against Chelsea at home, but Nottingham Forest, Tottenham, and Crystal Palace in Game Week 3, 4, 5 are decent fixtures for someone like Bowen if you want. Maybe not for defensive wise. Nottingham Forest, Sunderland are decent fixtures, but Spurs, Crystal Palace, Chelsea, I can see them easily scoring against West Ham. Now, again, they were really bad last season, so we need to see what's going to happen. But let's move to see some of the worst fixtures for some teams. In the next section, as you can see from the title, here we're going to discuss a little bit about the teams who are going to have the worst fixtures, the worst opening fixtures to be more precise. Now, again, we discussed about some teams, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Newcastle. I think that that's just my opinion. I think that the fixtures are tricky for these teams, obviously, for the first game weeks of the season. Now, again, they are going to play against Burnley, they are going to play against Leeds, Wolverhampton in between those fixtures. Now, I'm not ruling any of the players from those teams at the moment for my FPL draft, obviously, because those three teams are really good teams. And although the fixtures are tricky, Liverpool are the champions. They are the champions for a reason. They are going to buy a lot of players, Frimpong, Kerkez, and Wirtz at the moment. They are going to improve a little bit, I think, and they could easily score and keep clean sheets against any of those teams: Bournemouth, Newcastle, Arsenal, Burnley, Everton. So with those teams, we need to see the prices really, and we need to see which premiums players we are going to have locked in our drafts, and then we can discuss about the other things. Arsenal, again, they are going to be a great team again, that's for sure this season. The fixtures are not amazing, but we saw Arsenal keeping clean sheets against Man United, Leeds, Nottingham Forest, so go without them if you want, but Arsenal have great players who are more than capable to have good performances also against the tougher oppositions. If we move to Manchester United, as you can see, and as I said before, they're going to play in Game Week 1 against Arsenal, so that's not amazing, and that's a shame, because although Manchester United were really bad last season, let's be honest, I think that personally they are going to improve a little bit. They are going to make some transfers. They bought in Cunha from Wolverhampton, so the best player from Wolverhampton. They are going to add also other players, maybe someone like Mbeumo, maybe someone like Gyökeres. But overall, I think that they are going to be a better team this season. But that's a shame because the opening fixtures are just horrible for Manchester United. Now, Fulham and Burnley are great, but after that, Manchester City away and Chelsea in Game Week 5, three of those five fixtures are horrible for any attackers from Manchester United, to be honest with you, because playing against Arsenal, City, and Chelsea, it's not great. Whatever attacker you are, but again, at some point, those players are going to be a consideration for us in our FPL team. If you ask me now, I think that I'm not going to go with Cunha. I'm not going to go with Mbeumo. Probably I'm not going to have any United attacker from the beginning. But again, let's see the prices. Let's see how that's going to impact us. Wolverhampton, again, a team maybe not a lot of people are going to be interested because the main options, the most popular options in FPL last season were Enury and Cunha, and now those players are gone. But again, they are starting against Manchester City, Bournemouth, Newcastle, and sorry, I just I just realized that I put Leeds on a grey, so that's surely um, a dark green. Obviously, it's an easy fixture for Wolverhampton, but again, maybe I made a mistake here, so please forgive me for that. But the fixtures are really mixed for Wolverhampton. Manchester City, Bournemouth, Newcastle are not great. Everton at home, it's okay for a clean sheet potential, but again, and Leeds obviously is fantastic, but again, we need to see how many FPL options we're going to have from Wolverhampton, because obviously in mind just comes at the moment Strand Larsen, who could be a really cheap alternative if you want to, but again, we need to see what's going to happen. And with Newcastle, I think that I talked a little bit about Newcastle, right? So if those players are going to remain at Newcastle, Isak, Gordon, maybe a defender, they are going to be great options again this year in FPL. Now, not necessarily from the beginning, because Aston Villa, Liverpool is not amazing. After that, from Game Week 3 onwards, I think that Leeds, Wolverhampton, Bournemouth are decent fixtures. So I would love to have someone like Isak in my team at that time. If we move to Bournemouth, again, we need to see. Sorry, maybe I repeated myself. Obviously, maybe I'm a little bit annoying because I just said that if those players are going to remain, if they are going to sell players, or if they are going to buy new players. But it's really depending on that, on the FPL prices. And again, Bournemouth were really great last season. We're still going to have some options from Bournemouth, right? Kluivert, Evan Nilsson, Semenyo if he's not going to go. But starting against Liverpool away, it's not the best start for sure. After that, Wolverhampton, Spurs, Brighton, Newcastle. The fixtures are mixed. They are not really bad, but they are not great either. And we need to see also how Bournemouth are going to play next season. Now, we're going to take a look at the other teams and also with the difficulty rating. Okay, so now here we're going to take a look at the first 5 games of the season. Now this is from Opta, and also this is for the next season of FPL fixture difficulty, sorted by fixture difficulty. So as you can see, from the beginning, Manchester United with the worst opening fixtures, and at the bottom, Aston Villa with the best fixtures to start the season. Now, as you can see here from the first 5 teams, they are a little bit different from my rating, and that's totally fine. Manchester United, Arsenal, Bournemouth and Liverpool were also in my top. Now they have on the 4th place for the toughest fixtures to start the season, Everton. Now I just don't really agree with that opinion, but obviously these are stats and these guys know more about statistics than me, obviously. But Everton are going to play against Leeds, Brighton, Wolverhampton, Aston Villa and Liverpool away, which I agree it's a really bad fixture. Now Wolverhampton, Leeds, Brighton, I think that they are decent from Everton. Now obviously you just need to think a little bit about which players from Everton do you really want to have in your FPL team, because that's also important. Now here we're going to take a look also at those teams who I didn't show up in the last section to see how their opening game weeks are going to be. Now if we go there, Newcastle, as I said before, a tricky start to the season. Leeds United against Everton in game week 1, Arsenal Newcastle, tough, and then Fulham Wolverhampton. The fixtures are decent for Leeds. We need to see which players are going to be on our radar, at least. If they are going to be really cheap, maybe we will need to have some enablers for the next season to accommodate the likes of Haaland, Palmer, Bukayo Saka, Mohamed Salah. We're going to be to need to have some cheap players. With Nottingham Forest, we discussed Manchester City again. As you can see here, they rank them something in the middle. Personally, I think that considering Manchester City are a really good team and I'm expecting them to improve a little bit from last season, I think that the fixtures are good for Manchester City. So yeah, on my rating, they would be a little bit down the list for the better fixtures, but Wolverhampton, Spurs, Brighton, United, Arsenal, as I said before, I think that those fixtures are great, but I totally understand why the opponent average rating is like that, because Arsenal, Brighton, those are not easy fixtures, and also Manchester United. With Brighton, uh, again, João Pedro at the moment is linked to a move to Chelsea or something like that. So we need to see again um, how which options we're going to have from Brighton in FPL. But Fulham, Everton, Bournemouth, Tottenham are decent fixtures. Manchester City also in game week 3. If we go to Spurs, um, as I said before, maybe the best opening game for them against Burnley at home. After that, they're going to play against City, Bournemouth, and Brighton in game week 5. So mixed fixtures really, with Fulham, Brighton, United, Chelsea, Leeds, Brentford. The fixtures are decent from Fulham, don't get me wrong, but at the moment I just don't know. The fixtures, they are not playing against really amazing opposition, maybe besides Chelsea, but they're going to play against Man United, Brighton, Brentford, which these teams are a little bit tricky to play. They are not playing against besides Leeds, against any other new promoted sides. Sunderland have a really good start of the season, but I didn't include them because I don't know at the moment how many options we're going to have from them. West Ham, Burnley, Brentford, Palace, Aston Villa, that's decent. And Chelsea, we talked about them. Brentford, Burnley also are going to have a decent start to the season. As you can see, they're going to play against Spurs, so I'm not expecting a clean sheet, to be honest with you there. Sunderland, Manchester United, Liverpool, tough in game week 4, and Nottingham Forest. So yeah, from a defensive perspective, the fixtures against Sunderland, United maybe, and Nottingham Forest are not bad. Um, and the last team we didn't discuss a little bit was Crystal Palace. They're going to play against Chelsea, Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa, Sunderland, West Ham. So another team who is having great fixtures, and I didn't include them because from my point of view, I just think that starting against Chelsea away is not what you really want. Nottingham Forest, although they are not going to be like they were last season, I'm expecting them still to defend pretty decent. Aston Villa. So in the first 3 gamings of the season, I just think that these fixtures are tricky from Crystal Palace, although they have really good players and they had good FPL options last season. After that, the fixtures are amazing. So don't get me wrong, Sunderland, West Ham. So yeah, I understand why they put them in those rankings for the best fixtures, but yeah, these are the fixtures at the moment for the opening 5 gamings for all the teams. Please let me know down in the comments down below your opinion on this video. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like, hit that subscribe button if you're new around the channel. It really helps and I really appreciate it. And I'm going to see you next time. Bye.